The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzy, and I am joined by a guy I know is a gentleman. Regz, how you doing, buddy?
You are too kind, sir. Thank you. I'm doing good. How are you, bud?
Yeah, I'm great. I have a situation that I need to run by you from something that happened to me today.
Okay.
And I was leaving. So I was actually in Bethlehem today. I was wrapping up some things with my current employer before I jump back. More on that later. And I stayed at my family's house because it's super close to where the office is. So I went to the gym over by them this morning. As I was leaving the gym, I got caught in what I feel like is a common conundrum. You're walking out a door and you can see someone coming, right? But the distance is just like a little off. Like this person, she was about 30 yards away from me.
Yeah.
And then you're like caught like in the moment of, oh, do I hold it? Do I not? Do I hold it? Do I not? Because if you do, you're standing there for a while or they start running.
Right. And you feel bad.
So then you feel bad. So I just kind of played it off like, all right, I'm going to keep going. I'm not even going to like pause for a second. And as I'm like walking to my car, we don't pass, but like we pass. Like I'm going further diagonally. She's walking and she says over her shoulder, way to be a gentleman. And I was like, wow.
Oh God.
So what is the rule? Like, is there a yardage that you like?
30 seems like a lot.
Right? Like, can Brock Purdy throw a ball 30 yards?
Well, debatable, but yeah, 30 seems like a lot.
What's the rule of thumb here is what I'm asking. Because I do like when I leave the gym, I look over my shoulder to see if someone's coming. When I come in, I make sure no one is leaving so that like if they are, I'll hold the door, or I'll look around before I walk in and make sure that if like there's someone within like 10, 15 yards or so, like I'll hold it for them. But like you're talking way back at that point. You're standing there awkwardly.
I think 20 is probably the max.
I even feel like that's a little
I feel like I increased it. Like I feel like 15 is probably the max, but if you're like you really want to push it, 20, is probably
the right thing to do. The right thing to do is hold the door for someone. Like I even think some people would say, no, if you're not even within like arm's distance, I'm not holding it for you. Because I've walked in behind people who we were walking, not far from one another, and they just open and go.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care. I'm perfectly fine opening the door myself. But today really caught me. I really got stuck in this, and now I feel like because of who I am,
your
in the future,
distance just increased.
I'm now, because that's been eating at me all day. Because I do like to consider myself a gentleman. I asked Andrea, I was like, am I a gentleman? And she's like, yes, absolutely, you're a gentleman.
This would be the thing that you will think about for 3 days, though. And like you'll be searching out the next time that somebody is standing too far away, and you're gonna deliberately stand with the door open.
I will. I'll hold it, and I'll tell them, don't run. I need to make sure that you don't question my level of gentleman.
Yeah.
I feel like I have found myself to be a very chivalrous person for a lot of my life. I was taught well, and today it was questioned. And so like the rest of the day at the office, I was holding the door for everybody. I carried 4 large pizzas, 3 blocks for our team, for our unit, for lunch. I was like, oh no, you guys aren't going to walk on your own. I'll go with you. I'll carry him back. Like I was going above and beyond my normal level of chivalry because of what happened this morning. And I still can't get it out of my head.
That's a classic Azzy move.
Yeah. I
sticks
overthink
with you.
everything.
It sticks with you for so long.
And I overthink everything. So this one's not going anywhere. It is not going anywhere at all.
As you know, as your friend, I will be honest with you. I think this one's just, that lady's a curmudgeon.
Yeah, I mean, look, like, how are you gonna start your day angry?
I apologize, milady. Like, sorry I didn't hold the door for you when you were
this is
30 yards away.
This was like 7:30 in the morning, and like that's how she chose to start her day. I hope her day got better. I really do.
Let's hope she doesn't have any sons.
Man,
Jesus.
I mean, look, she's teaching them chivalry clearly because she questioned mine.
Or not, or that's just how she treats everyone else.
Good point. Good point. So I listen, I would love for those that are, tuning into the show to weigh in, shoot me a text, or this might actually
give us a yardage here. Give us a yardage
on one of our social media.
This sounds like a Facebook poll.
I am very curious. Yeah, I really need to know, context of the story. I need to know to be better. I want to be better. I want to be a better person. And this really is my chance. So, well, buddy, we got a couple of things to talk about here tonight.
That's right.
We had no plans to talk about the Phillies tonight. None. We said last week on the show that we were going to be all Eagles. Well, there are a few things that happened. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here. I got the clock. I'm watching it.
We're literally starting a timer.
But I do think there are things that we got to hit. So we're going to do three things. We're going to talk about arbitration. Regz is going to give me the numbers. I'm going to say too high, too low, or just right. We're going to talk about a new addition to the Phillies coaching staff. And we're going to talk about a potential new addition to the Phillies lineup, which we've already sort of talked about, but we want to revisit it because
some things have happened.
Some updates to that. So, Regz, let's go ahead and start with arbitration. I will give an answer, a quick reason why, and if there's anything you want to add, certainly please do so.
Okay. I'm going to skip over Marshawn and Stubbs because it is what it is, and they happened a while ago. So, Jesus, 11 million.
Yeah, this is right. For me, it's just right. And going into his last year of free agency, I think it's the perfect number. Sounds like they were never even that far apart from what I read today. I do believe it actually might end up being too low this year, but from last year, it's just right. I do believe that Jesus, and this might be spoiling one of my bold predictions for the year, but I think he's going to be in a top 3 Cy Young. He would have been top 3 had he not blown up in 2 starts this year.
Yeah.
So this is spot on, and I think for next year, it's gonna appear to be too low. It's gonna be like Chris Sanchez.
Completely agree. Alec Boehm, 10.2.
Yeah, this is too high.
Yeah.
This is too high. And I don't think by a lot, but it sounds like the Phillies wanted to be more in like the 7.5 to 8 million range. I was talking to my brother earlier, and we were talking about Bomer. We'll talk about him in a little bit. He had less RBIs than Stott. He had less home runs than Stott. I know he missed about 40 games this year, but for a guy who hits cleanup when he's in the lineup, to not have more RBIs than the guy hitting 9th that's a problem. And, I think the Phillies were kind of rubbed the wrong way about the way this arbitration went down with him. And so, yeah, a little too high for me.
All right. Bryson, 5.9.
This feels too low based on what he brings defensively, the second half that he had. Again, not incredibly too, like, I kind of thought he was going to be in like the 6-7 range. And I understand the first half wasn't great. He still had a higher WAR than Boehm by a full point. I think Boehm was 1.2 and Stoddard is 2.2 WAR. So, like, for me, it feels a little low. I thought 6 or 7 would be right for him, and 8 would have been right for Boehm based on where they were last year. So the defense alone for me is worth 5.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
All right. Johan Duran, 7.5.
Yeah, that's a freaking steal.
It's unbelievable.
It's
unbelievable.
Like, think about what some of the relievers around baseball are making. Like, Devin Williams is making 15 a year. What is Edwin Diaz making? Like, isn't it 20?
It's close. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like what are we
19,
talking?
18, 19, 20, something like that.
Like we just traded Matt Strom at $7.5 million.
Yeah.
Like it's a freaking steal, man.
This is
It's
a
unbelievable.
steal. Yeah,
And we still got one more year of arbitration
that's
after
right.
this with him.
That's pure
Right?
highway
Is
robbery. Yes.
Is this it?
No,
One more
2028,
after
he's a free agent.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's highway robbery.
Damn.
All right, Brandon Marsh, 5.2.
Yeah, I feel like this is right. You know, for a platoon outfielder, he's a well above average defender, but doesn't play every day because he can't hit lefties. I think that number's perfectly fair. Marshy, is he 28 as well, or is he 27 like Stott? He's 28. So, I don't think he's ever gonna hit 10 unless he blows up in the next year or so. I think he's gonna flatline around 7 or 8. So this is right. This feels right for Marshy.
Edmundo, 4.4.
Yeah, I think based off of what he was last year and what he did last year, he was fantastic for them last year. I kind of fluctuate from like just right to like too low. He is a super utility guy. This is his last year of arbitration. So, you know, he'll find himself in free agency next year. I think it's just right. Maybe a little too low, but nothing crazy.
All right, last but not least, Tanner Banks, 1.2. I do love it.
That's a steal. Like
that felt really good too.
I think I want to make sure I say that there is part of me believes that we're trusting him a little bit too much with the Strom trade, but for what he did last year, 1.2 million feels like an absolute robbery and feels too low because he was very, very good for them last year in a lot of ways. I do want to clarify something before we move on to the addition on the staff. You know, I had a question about like, well, they signed Bohm. What's going on? Well, arbitration is very different. There's stages in Major League Baseball, and so pre-arbitration is 3 years, and then arbitration is 3 years. Sometimes there are guys that are in super arb; they have 4 years of arbitration. So like someone like Otto Kemp is in his pre-arb right now. So this is technically year 1 of pre-arbitration because I think he came up after that date.
Yeah.
And so that is just like major league minimum each year essentially. And then once you hit the 4th year, then you're in arbitration where you go and say, here's what I want. The team says, here's what we want to give you. And that's year to year. Now you can buy out someone's arbitration, and the Phillies did that with Chris Sanchez. They basically just bought his arbitration years out and extended it a couple more years because they saw what is coming a while ago. They saw this like improvement in him, and when you look at what happened with Tarek Skubal today, Skubal asked for 32 million, and the Tigers offered 19. Or 13. I can't remember what it was. 19. So there's a $13 million difference. Not that it would have been that extensive with Sanchi, but the Phillies had enough wherewithal to say, hey, let's get something done now. Eventually, Sanchi's going to want a different deal. They're going to have to figure something out because he's worth well more than $6 million. But they bought out the arbitration and kept that consistent so that his value did not rise. So when Bohm's 3 years are up, he becomes a free agent. And you know, I don't think he's really increased a whole lot from year to year. But that's what this is. They can still move him. They didn't extend him. This is just something you have to do with players who are in arbitration.
Yeah.
That's all. Just wanted to make sure. I told a person who texted that I would clarify that on the show.
Yeah, it's one of those weird baseball things. Like, I think I had to explain it to my son because he was like, well, why are they signing people if, you know, I was like, it's a weird baseball thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, we assign a number to them. They're part of the roster. We're assigning a salary number now.
When they're in that process,
Exactly. I have to go back and look at the arbitration numbers that I gave these guys. I'll have to do that before the show next week to see how close I was. Because remember, I did that as an exercise.
Right. Yeah.
So I'll have to go and see what I gave these guys. I might pull it up while you're talking here in a little bit, see how close I got. But new addition, while we're talking about signing, Donnie Baseball. We talked about him last show, Regz, and it happened the next day.
That's right. Apparently it was despite us, you know, as much as I want to call us clairvoyant and, you know, the whisperers, which again, if you want to believe that, please do. Apparently, his Blue Jays deal ended, on the 31st. So they had to wait until that was done. You got to get everything signed, blah, blah, blah. And there it is. So there wasn't like, people were like, oh, Dave talked about it a few weeks ago, and then why hasn't anything come out? Like, there wasn't this tension or weirdness. It was just, you had to wait for the one thing to be done, and then you move on.
That's all that was all it was. So it was more so just the idea of
the contract running out.
They had to wait for the contract.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts on what this does for them. I'm going to give just a quick thought on this, and then I'll see if you have any additional thoughts. For me, it's two. It gives Rob, a guy who's done this and has had great success. It'll help him with some in-game stuff that I think he struggles with from time to time, because he's so loyal to certain guys. I think there's fresh eyes here. The second thing it does is it gives this staff some clout with the players. There had been rumblings about the players not really connecting with the coaching staff from a perspective of none of you guys have played at the major league level. And now you got a guy who should be a Hall of Famer. He's a 9-time Gold Glover. He's an MVP. This is a dude who, you can't question something if Don Mattingly gives it his stamp of approval, because he is a dude, and not just a dude from he played in the league, but a dude who should have a plaque in Cooperstown. So I think those are the two main things for me that this does. I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
No, I wanted to get your sort of deeper thoughts. Obviously, I know we're moving quickly, but I wanted to get your, if you thought any more about that part of it, because I listened to the Philly show this morning on my walk, and Jim and Todd brought that up. There were rumblings in the corners of the clubhouse, about that, about, we're these kind of players, and there's no one on this staff that is like that, or that we feel like we can relate to in that way. And a lot of it's been brought up about Bryce because of the first base stuff, because of, obviously Bryce is the big superstar guy, and I found it really interesting. It wasn't those things I think I'd ever thought of before. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it, but it's nothing I ever thought of or thought about or, thought was a thing with this particular group of guys. So it was interesting to hear that. And then again, I think for all the reasons you've already talked about, this is a great hire for them. And I think it's also great because Rob is really comfortable with it, because they've worked together before, and, they're close from the Yankees days. But I don't know. It was just one of those things that it was really interesting to hear that side of it, and hear how that's a real thing. It's not just, a rumbling. That's a real thing that guys had concerns about. And I love that they did what they had to do to fix it. Right. First and foremost, I love that they did this and went out and found a guy like that, because I think he will be very helpful. But I was just curious your thoughts when that stuff started to come out, what you thought about that initially.
I don't know if it was always a negative thing. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if Bryce is marching around and being like, you don't get
No. Sure. I don't think it was ever something like that, or it would have come out before then.
Now, I don't think it was that way with everybody.
Right.
What I mean by that is, why do Nick and Rob not get along?
Yeah.
Right. Because he doesn't like his decisions. Because he doesn't probably see him as an equal from that perspective. He's the manager, but he's not a manager who has my experience, my success, right? And I don't feel that that's look. There's never going to be a perfect clubhouse. I don't care what anybody says, right? But they're getting rid of some of that toxicity. Nick being one of those guys that they feel is toxic, and apparently Matt Strahm.
Yeah, right.
Fell out of favor with some front office people, and maybe some of the coaching staff. So, as much as we like those guys, and as much as we connect with those guys, I think for me it's not out of the realm of possibility and not out of the realm of, it's something that just happens in the day-to-day lives. If you don't connect with someone or you don't see them as having your experiences, it is hard to really understand where they're coming from. And that's human nature, right? Like, you haven't lived my life. You don't know what it's like in my shoes. So I don't really trust you the same way that I trust someone who has. And whether or not those guys who had those problems are in the clubhouse moving forward, what Mattingly does is he prevents that from becoming an issue in the future.
Yeah.
Because again, if PFPs were an issue and Matt didn't want to do them, right, which is the context that we kind of gathered from that press conference, like, if Don Mattingly says you should be doing PFPs, it's a little more difficult to push back on that than it is with Rob. And I love Rob. I don't want to discount what Rob is, but Rob's not a Hall of Fame baseball player. Don is.
Yeah.
Right. There's a reason why Don Mattingly got so much out of not so great Marlins teams. It's because those guys were like, this dude knows what he's talking about. This dude did it, and he did it well. So that's sort of, I think, what the Phillies were thinking along the way was, how do we prevent this from happening if we're going to bring in other stars moving forward?
Yeah, which I think is great. I'm all for it.
And speaking of other stars,
also, just because we just talked about Duran at whatever we're paying him, the fact that Mason Miller is only getting paid $4 million is absurd and like thievery. That's what they settled at. Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably his first year of ARB.
I know. So, I'm just saying, it's like, it's absurd.
Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense anyway. But speaking of stars like Mason Miller and Yohan Duran and all that other fun conversation we just had, Bo Bichette.
Stuff's been happening, man. Jesus.
Been happening. We talked about it last show. Is like, let's do this, right? And now it seems like the Phillies are buckling in to possibly do this. It kind of leaked today that, and not just leaked from anybody, it leaked from Matt Gelb, who is one of the 4 writers that I trust in Major League Baseball. It's him, it's Salisbury, it's Passan, and it's Stark. And Rosenthal's just like a little tier below. But it leaked today that the Phillies are setting up a meeting with Bo Bichette, that players were texting him during his wedding to talk to him about coming to Philadelphia. What leaked later this evening was that Bo had expressed interest in coming to Philadelphia around the holidays, when it came to be that Don Mattingly would be the new bench coach, because he's very close with Don Mattingly. So both parties have interest. There's probably still a lot of hurdles to clear, but I don't think they're as difficult to navigate as what we had anticipated last week when we had this conversation, because it sounds like they've set up some frameworks for if they get something done. I have no idea what a contract with Bo Bichette looks like. I've seen all kinds of numbers.
Yeah.
I would try and get him at somewhere like 5 years for like a high AAV around like 28 million. That gets him to his age 32 season, and maybe he can find another contract after that. 6 at 27 per could be something they could consider, but they're getting in a room with him, a Zoom room, but a room nonetheless. And, for me, having that guy sitting with your front office, probably your manager, and probably Don Mattingly with his son, right? It feels like this is a very, I shouldn't say it feels like this is a very real thing, because it does, but it's Matt Gelb has expressed, like, they're not, this is not posture. This is not, hey, JT, look at us.
Yeah.
This is, we're interested. We want to do this.
That's the biggest part about all of this. That is the thing I like when I read every article or whatever I can find about this. It's, what really is this? And like you said, there are very few people that I truly, truly trust, like on their first word. Not that I have to like go and look into it in baseball stuff. Like you said, Passan is obviously our guy, and Gelb doesn't put anything on paper without it being for real. The same with Jim, right? He doesn't put anything on paper without it being for real.
Yeah.
And I think, first of all, the fact that Bo, like, sort of not only, like, it seems like he reached out and said, like, hey, I'm interested. Like, can we meet and see where we're at and see what's possible? And I just think the timing, like you said, it might have been the Don thing, but like the fact that it's coinciding with this sort of JT standoff, and the fact that the Phillies are finally like, okay, like, it's time. We need to seriously get into these contingency plans, not just a posture. That's the, like, a huge part of this, not just a posture. I don't want a posture for a 36-year-old catcher. We like JT. We do. We can appreciate what he does with the pitching staff. Yes, is it going to tick off Zach a little bit? Like, probably. He doesn't like pitching to other people. Like, okay, I get it. All those things are true.
I'm sure he would like a little more run support, though.
All those things are right. All those things are factors, right? When you're thinking about this, I get it. But I don't want a posture for a 36-year-old catcher. I want to go get the 27-year-old who's like in the top 4 of batting average for the past 5 years.
Right.
Like, that's the guy you need more than the catcher who's declining offensively. That's the guy who can take you from Schwarber, Harper, Turner, when they start getting 38, 37, right? Those ages, who can take hopefully Justin Crawford and Aiden Miller and Andrew Painter. Like, who's the leader of that team when those guys get old? It's Bo Bichette. It's a guy who's 27 years old right now. Like, that truly changes your lineup. Bringing JT back changes nothing about your lineup. You might arguably be worse than you were last year. Seriously, you might arguably have a worse lineup.
Yep.
I'm extremely excited that it, like, when you sent me the tweet from, Gelb was on 97.5 talking about, like, this isn't posturing, like, this is for real.
Yeah. Said it twice.
Yeah. And the fact that Bo reached out, like, is a huge plus. The fact that this Don thing is such a real thing with him is a huge plus. And it really seems like the Phillies are ready to figure something out. And I think the biggest thing we were scared of is that they're just going to be happy with changing the outfield, like changing the names in the outfield and just bringing everybody back. And there's a difference in doing that now, like when JT is the age he is and where the offense is going from him. We know the Schwarber thing, like, we're very hopeful his offense will continue to be really good. We have no doubts, but like, you have to start thinking about when these guys get older and the contracts they're signed to and who can help bring you into that next step. And it's like, out of all the guys out there right now, again, it's not a full list of, like, right, every 27-year-old, but of anybody that's available, this is a dude who truly changes your lineup. And I'm protecting myself a little bit because I don't want to get my hopes too high. But like, I'm excited, man. I'm like jacked up.
That JT resigns with the Phillies tweet is gonna hurt.
I'm nope. Knock on something. I don't want to see it. I'm serious. I don't want him.
This is where we're gonna kind of wrap here. I think one couple things that I want to say something. I want to ask you something. The thing I want to say is that I don't think people understand, like, outside of a segment of the fan base. I think people know the name and but I don't think people understand how good of a hitter he is.
Yeah.
Like, this is a dude who missed a month and all of a sudden stepped into the World Series and was one of the best players in the World Series immediately. And in Game 7 hit one of the biggest home runs off of Shohei that we will ever imagine. Like I can't even begin to describe that moment.
Yeah.
Watching it as a fan who's disconnected from both teams. This dude is so good. Okay. First and foremost, here's the question. Who would you prefer going? I think I know your answer, but I need a reason why. Someone's going to go from the infield. Is it Bohm or is it Stott?
Bohm.
Yeah. I like, it's not a question.
Right?
No, and here's why. Because what does Alec Boehm do better than Bryson Stott?
He's taller.
But there's nothing that he does better.
No.
Right? Like he's got 1 year left, so there's that, right? The control thing is there. Defensively, it's not even a conversation. Like it's not.
Even if Stott was at third, I'd have I'd have just as much confidence in him there than I do Alec there.
Alec has improved immensely.
Yeah.
Stott is still a much better defender. Base running, not even Alec Boehm looks like there are 20 of me dragging behind him when he runs, right? And Bryson is an elite base runner. Hitting, I think right now is, to me, a wash, especially after the second half of last year. Bryson probably has the same amount of power as Alec does. And if you're adding a right-handed bat, Bryson's left-handed bat helps to balance the lineup a little bit more. And when it comes down to it, mentally, if you ask any broadcaster, Kruk, McCarthy, Fransky, LA, Schmidt, Hamels, every one of them talks about how smart Bryson Stott is as a baseball player. No one really says that about Alec Boehm. He's a head case who struggles to keep himself mentally checked in. Alec has given us 5 good years. Good, average, the type of ball player he is. It's just not close.
Yeah, you also want to get rid of his 10 more than Bryson's 5 or 6 or whatever he got.
For sure. The salary in and of itself is a thing. Yeah. In and of itself is a thing. And I'll tell you what, next year, when the time comes, we'll be having this same conversation about Bryson Stott getting traded so that there's room for Aiden Miller.
Right.
It's not a I don't like Alec Boehm thing. It's just he's run his course. Like we're just ready to move on. We need to turn some things over, and Bryson Stott's style of play is something that can help this team.
Yeah. And we love Bryson, but if I got to ship him off for Aiden Miller to get playing time, best of luck to you, Bryson.
Because at that point, Aiden Miller can do the things that Bryson Stott does, right? That's where
all success in your future endeavors.
All of you, yes. Bo, come on, baby. Monday, I'm
gonna freak out.
I will be now. He's not gonna come in and immediately sign. That's not happening. But it would be cool. I'm going to be watching for updates all day. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
I remember watching for updates when Bryce was doing his meeting with the Phillies. And, I remember where I was and all of it as I was like checking for these. So, all right, man, you ready to talk about the playoffs?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to go through and do our draft of the teams in the playoffs. And we did this last year. You get points for every win the team gets. So, but the buys don't count.
Right.
So like if you take the Seahawks, you don't get a win for them being the number 1 seed.
Yep.
And we're going to go through then, and we're going to pick the whole bracket as well. So let's start with the draft. Regz, you won last year. So you get the first pick in this draft. Are we snaking, or are we just gonna go back and forth?
Just go back.
We'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, my friend.
Man.
The first pick.
I know this is tough.
It is not an easy.
I know it's not an easy choice.
It is not.
Give me the Rams.
I feel like that was the right pick. I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay. All right.
Back to you.
Give me the Bills. I guess if I gotta take one, I'm taking Superman.
Interesting. You know what? Let's have some fun. I'm gonna take the Jaguars.
I was really close to taking them. I was really close.
I'm gonna take the Jaguars.
I was really close.
Yeah, well, you know.
Oh, all right. Give me Seattle.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to take the Pats.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I probably should have taken them over Seattle. Damn it. Give me... I guess give me Denver. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like either of them. I would have rather had the Patriots, but at some point, I guess I got to pick them.
I'm taking the Texans.
All right.
Man, I guess we are staying out of the NFC.
I know, because I don't want to pick someone that's going to play the Eagles, but like that's impossible now. Give me the Bears. Even though I hope, the most I hope they win is 1.
You know what? I'm going to take Green Bay.
All right.
I actually have a very weird feeling about that game.
Okay.
All right, remaining Panthers, Niners, Chargers, Steelers.
Panthers, Niners, Chargers, Steelers. Niners are no. Oh my God. Panthers. None of I don't like any of them, for the record. I don't like any of them.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to take the Niners.
All right. I like it.
Just to protect myself, because we're down at the bottom here, and I don't feel good about either of the AFC teams left.
What is it? Steelers.
You got Steelers or Chargers? Steelers are playing at home. Chargers are playing in New England.
Yeah, Chargers.
All right, so I'm protected in 2 games.
I just don't want Aaron Rodgers. I don't want him. Just morally.
I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that so much.
For the record, neither of us picked him. You just ended up with him.
I did. Yeah, I can't stand that guy.
I know, me neither. Me neither.
I really can't. All right, let's go ahead and pick our way through here. Or should we talk about the game first and then pick?
Let's pick and do that game last, and then we'll talk about it.
All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because we picked the whole way through, baby. Okay. Let's start with let's just work our way through the AFC. Why don't we do that? So we got Pittsburgh versus the Texans to start. It is in Pittsburgh, as I said. So we will start there. What do you think, buddy?
Texans.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that defense is going to kill them.
I see a struggle for them. All right, we've got New England and the Chargers.
Yeah, it's New England, probably.
I think so too. I think so.
I mean, I'm not like, again, it's like a second-year quarterback in the playoffs. We don't know yet how he's going to play, but
yeah, at home,
they've been, Vrabel's a good coach. It's
Herbert. Yep. I need Herbert to like actually win a game in the postseason to believe in him. So, and then Jacksonville hosting Buffalo. I'll go with it. I think for me,
it's close.
It's close. I think Jacksonville's defense is still super elite. So, okay. So the second round then would be Denver would host Buffalo in our bracket because that's an upset there. So let's start Texans and New England. It would be in New England.
Man. What's your gut? What do you think?
My gut is New England.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
I believe in the head coach quite a bit. And then we got Denver and Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Okay. We will do it. All right. So we got Buffalo and New England. Who's going to the Super Bowl?
What do you think? What's your?
I think New England.
All right.
I don't even have Buffalo getting this far. So
I just don't. I don't like Bo Nix. And that they've been pulling games out of their ass all season.
I just think, well, so is Buffalo. Buffalo's schedule is a joke. It is a joke. I think Jacksonville actually beats them and beats them pretty good.
Yeah.
That defense is really good, and that offense is different right now. Like Trevor Lawrence is playing really well, and people just aren't paying attention. So, yeah, I actually think Buffalo might be done in the first round. And then what's the excuse for everybody's hero? Okay. Carolina and the Rams to kick it off in Carolina. We know Carolina beat them a couple weeks ago. Personally, I don't think it happens again, but
yeah, no, Rams.
All right. So then the second game, Chicago and Green Bay.
Chicago for me.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that game actually will end up being Green Bay, but I'm good putting Chicago because I'm cheering for them. So, but I do believe there's a chance that that ends up being an upset and ends up helping the Eagles regardless. So then Philly and San Fran.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
So
that means we would play Chicago and the Rams would go to Seattle. Let's start there. Seattle and LA.
In Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think? I think the Seattle's defense is really good, but
I do. I don't trust Darnold at all.
I know.
I don't trust him at all. And their division, it's a division rivalry.
I'm up for whatever you think, whatever you want to do.
I'm gonna go LA.
All right.
I'm gonna go LA. And then the Eagles go to Chicago.
Eagles.
Yeah, I actually I'm right there with you on that one. I think that's Fincher's gonna be out for blood in that game.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a young team who's just a year too early. So I got Philly there. Okay, so then the Rams would come to Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game.
Eagles.
Okay. I had Rams, but I'm good with it. So then we play New England, I think, as homers.
Yes.
It's got to be Philly, right? Okay. Man, we're going with the repeat. But it starts on on Sunday, or Sunday afternoon at 4:30. And we're going to go through this a little bit by bit. We're going to start with the bad versus the bad, and then we're going to do the good versus the good. And then we'll get into a couple of keys and we'll make our specific predictions for the game. So let's start with the Eagles offense against the San Francisco defense. These are two of the most struggling units in the playoffs. That's putting it kindly. San Francisco's defense is very banged up. They are on their 7th and 8th linebackers, and I am not at all
Didn't they just sign somebody that we had?
Kaiser White.
Yeah, that's it.
Kaiser White. Yep, he's 37.
Yeah.
And he's not necessarily gonna play. There's depth,
right?
But they are so banged up. Robert Saleh is still a really good defensive coordinator. He's a smart guy who's done a good job with a lot of issues on that defense. I mean, they don't have a pass rush. Lane and Jordan are going to get their boy Bryce this week. Bryce Huff is, 2024 Super Bowl champion. Bryce Huff will be in the house. 2025 Super Bowl champion Bryce Huff, I'm sorry, will be in the house. And so the middle of the field is where you can make your money this week. In the run game is where you can make your money this week. I don't know that I believe the Eagles will do either of those things well.
Yeah.
Or at all. For me, this should be a Dallas Goedert game. It should be a Saquon Barkley, Tank Bigsby game. My fear is that we are going to get more of the same in this game, and they're not going to attack those things. The reason why I fear this, I would love to take you back to Black Friday when the Bears had a very similar situation. They were missing all sorts of guys in their offense, and the Eagles decided, and by the Eagles, I mean Kevin Patullo decided not to attack the middle of the field. And so I struggle to get myself to a place where I think that they can or will do it, even though they have the weapons to do it. This is the perfect game to get AJ Brown into the slot, get him into the middle of the field easily. Will they do it? I don't think so. This is the perfect game to run crossing routes with AJ, Devontae, and Dallas. Will they do it? I doubt it, because they've run less crossing routes than any team in the NFL this year.
And AJ's run least amount of the slot out of any outside wide receiver in football.
Yes. This is not the game to be running curl routes, and they do that at the highest rate in recent NFL history. There are ways to get this defense. This is the perfect Tank Bigsby game. Foot in the ground, get up the middle. We'll probably see him for 3 snaps. We will see him out there for 3.
But we saved him for the fourth quarter last week.
I know how pessimistic I sound. Here's what I believe they can do, and what I believe we might see in this game and throughout the playoffs. I do believe we're going to get more Jalen running the football. I think we'll see some design stuff. I think we'll see him being more prone to taking off on his own in scramble drills. I think we'll see a lot more of that, as the playoffs begin here, because you can't leave anything on the table. So that certainly helps the offense. I do think we will see some Dallas Goedert in this game. I think I don't want them to force it, the issue.
Yeah.
But I think they will try and do it. Let me ask you this. What is the number that you would feel confident with this offense scoring to say, all right, they're going to win this game?
28.
You feel like 28's the number?
Yeah.
God, I don't know that they can get there.
I didn't say, you didn't say I thought they'd get there. It's just what you think I need them to get to.
Yeah. My natural response is just, man, I don't see them getting
I agree with you.
I think they can get to 24, and I think that's enough. But 28 feels like here's one thing I'll say, and then I want just your general thoughts on this specific matchup.
Mm-hmm.
There are still enough playmakers here that the Eagles can make 5 or 6 big plays in this game that lead to points in one way, shape, or form. Like this is the type of defense that's very static. They don't do a lot of changing after snap. What you see is what you get. That is who they are. Because of all the injuries, it's very difficult for them to do those
mm-hmm.
types of things and not be static. So I do think that there's something there in the way of like, can they throw a deep ball to a go ball to AJ Brown on 3rd and 5, and it succeeds, and they end up getting something out of it. Absolutely. I think there's 5 or 6 plays in their bag for that this week. After this week, I don't know.
Yeah.
After this week, if they play Chicago, sure. If they play Green Bay, probably not. Right. Or, I don't think they can play Green Bay now that I'm thinking about it, but you get my point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, it's this offense still has the gas. It's whether or not the offensive coordinator puts it in the car.
Yeah. I'm just going to put it very simply. I know 2 things to be true. Number 1, San Francisco's defense is not good. And number 2, Kevin Patullo has shown me absolutely nothing that he can take advantage of even this depleted of a defense by having a feel for what's going to be open. Where the advantages lie? All those things. He's shown zero feel and ability to exploit even defenses that are this banged up and this terrible. And I'm hopeful that the rest helps the offensive line maybe run block better. I'm hopeful that getting Lane back helps them run block better. Like, but we don't know that. Like, they still aren't playing good. They played the Bills. The Bills had the worst running defense in the entire league, and they couldn't get anything going. I have very little confidence in this side of the ball for any sort of game plan to get guys open or get them in positions to exploit this San Francisco defense. Like you said, I believe that we have the talent to be able to do it. And maybe that happens a few times, but I can't say confidently that it's like for sure going to happen, because we have seen it. We have seen nothing to tell us that that will be the case so far from this coordinator and this game plan.
Two things are true. The San Francisco defense sucks.
Yes.
And Kevin Patullo sucks.
Yes. Yes.
There's a very like I saw someone today say, is like, let's not root for a loss so a guy loses his job when the Super Bowl is very possible for them. I don't know that we have to. Like, I feel like the Eagles can win the Super Bowl in spite of him, and he still loses his job.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
The big fear, though, is exactly what we feared with Jonathan Gannon in 22, which is like, we are one bad Jonathan Gannon game away from losing.
This is when it really matters. Like, this is when it matters.
And I texted you and a few other people during the Washington game in week 18, and I said it on the show, that 3rd and 1 play action out of shotgun and the 4th and 1 play action out of shotgun, fine, we can shove it under the carpet in week 18. If you choose to do that, that's on you. I don't, because like that these are the reps,
right,
that to me show whether, and I don't want to hear, he could be saving it. He's not saving anything.
Right. What is there what's there
There's
to
nothing
save?
to save. Like, you still have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. If you run the things well and you do it sequentially and you do it with intent and there's purpose, no one's going to stop you. And we've been saying the same thing all year. So, the Eagles have success in the red zone, and there's all these rumors out there that Leffler's run it. He's in charge of the red zone offense. And it's very odd that, like, between the 20 and the 20, they can't do anything. But once they get inside the 20, they can do everything.
Yeah, right.
And do it well, right? So, look, I appreciated Robert Saleh saying, what do you think about Saquon Barkley? When they asked him about Saquon Barkley's struggles this year, he said, I'm not going to answer that, because from a scheme perspective, I'm not going to tell you what teams have been doing, because it's what we're going to do. But also, like, out of respect for a guy who can still break a game open on 2 carries, and out of respect for a guy who's considered to be one of the best offensive line coaches in the sport, like, I'm not going to give them bulletin board material. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's why I like Saleh, because I think he's a smart dude and he knows what he's doing. And that reporter's an idiot for asking that question. Like, what can you do to stop Saquon Barkley is very different than what are your thoughts on Saquon's struggles this year? Yeah. So I don't know what that dude was thinking, but there are ways to beat this defense. If they lose because they can't score, if they lose this game 17-10 or 20-13, he's going to be gone Monday. He might be gone before Monday. And Nick should never be allowed to hire coordinators again.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
End of story. And I need Mikey here on on Tuesday.
Let's just shake the tree, right? Cut the damn tree down at this point.
Yeah. Well, don't even allow for the tree. He doesn't get a tree. All right. Strength versus strength. Eagles D, San Francisco offense. It's so interesting to me that this San Francisco offense is as good as it is, because they really only have 2 weapons. Like, they really, and I this is not me shortchanging guys. I'm not here underrating dudes, but like George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey are there. That is what they have. Like, that is what they do. And they haven't run the ball well this year.
Yeah.
McCaffrey's just finding other ways to be awesome, because he is. He's just
right.
good.
He's almost as good a receiver as he is a running back.
He's incredible. He's incredible. So, those two guys are, will Juwan, will he still make plays? Absolutely. He's just not like the freak athlete that Brandon Ayuk is or was. Will Ricky Pearsall, maybe catch a deep ball at some point on Epps or Adoree? Probably he'll get his, if he's even playing.
Yeah, right.
He didn't practice again today.
Yep.
So there's a good chance he's not even in the game. And then, Bourne is there and not the guy that he once was, right? So it is again the Shanahan effect for me. And I've been on here and I've talked my crap on Brock Purdy and but when you look at his numbers compared to Mac Jones, and they played almost one of them played 8 and one of them played 9 games, and their numbers are almost identical. Like almost identical. The only thing that they didn't do with Mac that they do with Brock is under center play action. Like that's the big difference. Like they still throw the ball over the middle of the field the same amount. Both guys had success. It's, I've said it over and over again. Brock Purdy has had great success. His story is awesome. It's awesome. But a lot of it is Shanahan driven.
Yeah.
Because Mac Jones struggled so much in New England. Comes to Shanahan, kills it. Why did Darnold get the contract in Minnesota? Because he was great in Shanahan's system for like 5 games. Like this is how good Shanahan is. And he will find things to exploit even on a strong Eagles defense.
Yep, absolutely.
He's going to find things. And it's not always going to be players, because Fangio does a good job of it's not every player can impact every play.
Right.
So it's really scheme based, and he's going to find things in this scheme to try and get them. Will he try and get Epps or Dory somewhere along the way? Absolutely. Is he going to try and get Nakobe matched up with Christian McCaffrey in space? 100%.
Yep.
Right? Like those things are going to happen. They're going to give those things a shot. You got Nakobe coming off of injuries already, struggles athletically. So yeah, they're going to try and do that thing. But the Eagles also do a lot. They do a lot really well. That is going to cause issues for Purdy and Shanahan. My question to you, Regz, knowing, and this is one question, I have many that I want to get through here, but the first one being is knowing San Francisco struggles so much with pressure. Do you think Vic tries early to get pressure with extra guys, like maybe sending Nakobe here or there early in the game and trying, get Brock a little flustered? Or do you think he only pulls that out of his bag if he needs it late?
My hope is that they don't have to start relying on it, start off relying on it. My only positive about that is if it forces McCaffrey to stay in as a blocker, then great. If that takes him out of that and takes him out of the passing game, that's a huge plus. But I get it. That's not a guarantee every time, right? He could slip it.
They don't typically do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So my hope is that maybe they can feign it, right? Maybe they send Nakobe and drop somebody like Jalix has been doing or something like that, and they're not true blitzing all the time. Because I do think that Purdy and Kittle and McCaffrey are really good at figuring that out. So my hope is that they just start with 4-man pressures and hope that Carter can have a good game. And, Ojimo and Phillips has been, he might not be flashing crazy, but he's playing really solid. BG will still be in there. Obviously, Jalix and Nolan are still playing well. That's my hope, is that they don't have to rely on it. Because I do think there's a really good chance Purdy and those guys exploit that.
Yeah, for me, it's not as much a reliance thing as it would be just to make him uncomfortable early.
Yeah.
I worry that if they let Purdy get comfortable,
then he's just
if they're not
everything.
getting home, if they're not getting home with 4, which they should be able to do, especially if Trent Williams doesn't play. You've got multiple guys coming off a week where they didn't do anything. And one of those being Jalen Phillips, who, absolutely came in full tank. I didn't realize he didn't have a bye week.
No, I didn't know that either.
his bye week was the week he came to Philly and played right away. So he hasn't had a bye week this year.
Yeah.
So this week was his bye. So you talk about a dude whose body needed a break.
Yeah.
It was Jalen Phillips, right? I can see some of the feign blitzes, happening for sure, just to see. I do believe that because of the lack of weapons, they might be able to send one extra guy here or there just to get Purdy off of his spot a little bit and make him uncomfortable, maybe make him force a throw. But if they can get home with 4, which, arrested Jalen Carter, arrested, Nolan Smith and Jalen Phillips, and those guys all being rested is a huge advantage for the Eagles. This was a question that got brought up on PHLY yesterday, actually, when they were talking about this matchup, that if they were to go base, if the personnel requires them to go into base from the Eagles' perspective, which would mean like they would essentially they would play 5 down or 5 linemen. And that would mean Coop would slide out to outside corner. The question was posed, would you consider moving Coop to safety and replacing Epps essentially with a Dory because what that does when they go into base is it removes Shannon would be smart because it removes Coop from being able to stop the run, which he's so good at. So essentially the question was being posed, do you keep him involved in stopping the run by moving him to safety? I will tell you, for me, the answer is no.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable having him do something. He's such a good player. He's so smart. I know he can do it, but I don't know if it's a good ask in the playoffs.
I completely agree. Yeah.
For him to
this is not the
right?
time to do something like that.
And you should still be able to stop them with a 5-man front and your 2 linebackers being who they are.
Yes.
Right. The last part that I want to highlight is how often they throw to the middle of the field, and he doesn't often throw to receivers. He tries to get Kittle and McCaffrey in the middle of the field, and so the Eagles are really good at defending the middle of the field. This is why it's good on good. Everything that these teams do well, like the other side does well, and so Purdy's going to try and get the middle of the field, and that's Zach Bond's going to be there. We know Coop's going to be there at times. Nakobe will more than likely not. He's usually in the flat on those types of plays. Epps will be there. Blank Reed will be there. So, your confidence level in them being able to keep, it's going to be really hard to keep George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey at bay. But what would be at bay for you for them in the passing game? Because again, I don't want to say they're not going to, Christian McCaffrey's not going to run the ball well, because I don't want to have that thought. I feel like they can try and do some of the things Chicago did. They just don't have the linemen to do the things that Chicago did. Those guys don't have the same athleticism, and I think the Eagles have learned from what happened in Chicago or against Chicago. So for me, it's more so how he impacts the pass game. So what for you is all right, they're getting theirs, but they're not getting all of theirs.
I mean, if you can keep them both under 90 yards receiving, I think you've won. You've done great.
Individually?
Yes,
combined?
Individually.
Okay. Yeah, I was more in the 70 range. I'm going to be honest with you.
I just think they're I feel like they're going to get it. You know what I mean? But I think the caveat is that if you keep those guys under 90, Jennings and Pearsall and those guys have 30. You know what I mean? They have nothing. Yeah. They have nothing.
And again, we don't even know
one reception for 12 yards or something like that.
Yeah, we don't even know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Anything do you want to add on either side of the ball or talk about?
I think my biggest thing is I need Bond to just be a menace in the middle of the field.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about this, and he's last year in the postseason, he had 2 enormous interceptions.
Yep.
He had the one against Green Bay at the end of the first half in the middle of the field, and then he had the one against Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And, big players make big plays in the postseason. Purdy's gonna have to make decisions. He's gonna have to decide, Quinyon Mitchell's over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean's over there somewhere. I want to get the ball in the middle of the field. And arguably, the Eagles' third best player, who's it's really weird to say that he's their third best player on defense, but I got to make the decision that this game could come entirely down to Zach Bond catching that ball or dropping that ball.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's going to get his opportunity or opportunities in this game. He's going to have his chance to make a play in the middle of the field. He's just got to bide his time. And we know Zach Bond challenges himself in different coverages. He literally has a poster in his locker of the different coverages that he wants to get an interception in. The different play calls that he wants to be able to check the box and say, I got an interception in that call.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know which ones he doesn't have yet, but hopefully, he gets that.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets that. But yeah, I need him to be a menace too. And
yes.
I could use a big Cooper play in this game.
Yeah. Or a Quinyon pick or something
I have a feeling that this could be a Coop sack off the edge game.
Yeah.
He always gets close.
Yeah.
And I feel like this could be the one where we finally get the Coop strip sack.
Yeah.
Off the edge. I just one of those plays for me. Or Nakobe just knocks someone's lights out in this game. All right, so I didn't say this before we recorded, but I'm sure you can think of something because I would like to do a key on both sides. Usually we just do a key to the game, but I'd like to do a key on both sides.
Okay.
So look, since we were just talking about the defense, let's stay there. And I will start. And I think for me, it is making sure that you make Brock Purdy uncomfortable. It is for Shanahan's offense will run because he's just so good at it, right? In order to make it struggle, and you saw this in the Seahawks game, they made Brock Purdy so uncomfortable because the run game was non-existent.
Yeah.
So they were able to pin their ears back and go at Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
1-3 looked miserable the entire night. And it was because 23 couldn't gain a yard. So if you can just make him uncomfortable and his feet twitchy, you're probably winning this football game. And so that's it for me.
Mine is the running game, stopping their running game.
Sure.
It, just like you just said, it feeds into that. But my biggest thing is stop McCaffrey from being able to run the ball, and this team becomes that more one-dimensional, and all those things start to happen.
Yeah.
You have to stop McCaffrey from running the ball.
Right. Okay. The offensive side.
I'll go because mine's almost the same. Run the ball.
Yeah.
If this running game can be, I'm not even talking about last year, just decent.
Yeah.
Where you're not in 3rd and 8 because you ran 2 running plays and only got 2 yards. This run game has to establish itself. This run game is what makes the Eagles able to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out.
Yeah.
I need them to come back to life for the playoffs. I need it. That's what I need. It makes everyone breathe a little easier. It makes everyone more comfortable, more relaxed when they can get 4 yards a clip.
Yeah.
And they're in 2nd and 6 or 5 instead of 2nd and 9. And then Patullo gets I wish they had a camera of his face because I bet you I could mimic it. It looks like a scared 12-year-old for those wondering. I just need the run game has to show up.
Yeah. I don't disagree, especially with, linebackers being as banged up as they are on that side of the ball for the Niners. All right, mine mine is, I don't usually use a single player. But I need this to be a Dallas Goedert game. I need it to be a Dallas Goedert game. They just don't. He is a weapon that I don't think we appreciate enough.
Yeah.
As a fan base, I think he's having the best year of his career. I'm happy for him. I know this is probably it for him in an Eagles uniform. And this game, I think more than any other game that they'll have the rest of the way, could be like his signature game. And they might need a different guy to have that type of game on offense the entire way this year.
Yeah.
Last year, it had to be Saquon, and in many cases it was until the Super Bowl, right? Like when you think about the playoffs, Goddard had the big touchdown against the Packers, and then the Rams and the Commanders was Saquon City.
Yep.
Then you got to the Super Bowl and it was, the defense. The defense showed and that was that, right? So, the defense might have to win them a game in this postseason. I don't know that this is the one they're going to have to win them, or it shouldn't be. So for me, the key is how much can you get Dallas Goedert involved in the pass game, and as a subset of that, I really need this to be a game where they're not in second and long every single drive. Like every series, it's 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, because they just cannot succeed out of that because the play caller has no idea what to do.
Yep.
So I need them in some 2nd and shorts. I think, one last thing, this is not a key, is no, I guess it is, but it's separate from all of this. Someone needs to be there to help Patullo adjust in game. Like someone had, like, I need Nick has said it. I need him to do it, to just say, I need to do a better job of telling him what to do at certain times or what plays. Like I always know the first play.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always like discussed, but I need him to have his hands in it a little bit more. Not that I trust Nick as like this great play caller, but because I trust him more than I trust Patullo, which I guess isn't saying a lot.
Yeah, right.
But I need somebody there to help him with adjustments at this point because he just has no clue what to do. The first part of the game always looks good. And then it's like, what happened? Where did this go?
Yeah.
So, all right, man, prediction time. I don't know who started last week. Did you?
Yeah, I think I have been. Yes, but we lost. So I think I was only starting because they had won the last two or something.
We got to go back to me then.
Yes.
Okay. I do have the Eagles winning. Just for those of us that don't know, they're now favored by 5.5, with the total being 43.5. I've got Eagles 27, 49ers 17.
Okay. I'm going to go with my number I talked about. I'm going to go 28-17.
Okay. We both.
I really like the 17 for the 49ers.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, if this defense shows up, that's probably the ceiling, maybe 20.
Yeah.
I think that's probably about right.
Mm-hmm.
And it could even be different. I just need the offense.
Yes.
I just need the offense. So, all right, everybody. Well, here's the deal. We will be back Sunday night.
Yes.
One way or the other, we will be back to talk through it, to recap, to process, to do all of those things with each and every one of you, because you deserve it. And we'll break it down, win or lose, good or bad, angry or happy, whatever it may be, Sunday night, so that you'll have this in your deck on Monday morning. Before we go, just real quickly, I have not said this on the show. Regz knows, and some of the listeners know. But I am stepping back into a school building. It was around this time, 3 years ago, that I made the announcement on the show that I was leaving the school because of my health. We've taken the steps. We've done all the things that we've needed to do, and due to some recent events and just wanting to be home more to be with my wife and my family, I'm going back. I'm going to high school. We'll see how that goes. we'll see how that goes.
Can't wait. Congratulations, buddy.
But I'm excited. I will start this coming Thursday.
There you go.
So excited to get in there and just get my feet wet. Definitely some nerves. But I think some of that's just, you haven't done it in a few years, and I've gotten used to like a little bit more freedom in my schedule. And I think there's like some apprehension about like having that strict like schedule again. But some of that freedom was a struggle for me at times too. So I'm happy to have a little bit more structure in my life again. So we'll be going back to the building. Going to be a Ram, going to be a Central Dolphin Ram. Rams up until we play them in the playoffs. Then it's, no more. All right, everybody. We will see you on Sunday night. Before you head out, click the subscribe button below on YouTube. Go to wherever you get your podcasts and follow, rate, do all the things. Go ahead to social media at the Mic Drop 5, at Big Regz with a Z on Twitter, at the Phixated Podcast on Instagram, at the Phixated Pod on TikTok, Phixated fan page on Facebook, and merchandise link in the show description. We love each and every one of you for being here. Before Sunday comes around, reach out to someone, tell them that you care about them. Be kind to someone, be kind to yourself. We love you guys, and we'll see you Sunday night. In the meantime, go Birds. We need you.
Go Birds, baby.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.